What's up, guys and girls?
Sean, why do you guys like Garner as the kind of the third safety in that situation, and what about maybe Keeley that didn't apply?
Yeah, I don't think it was more of a comparison thing. I think it was just more of we had invested some time and some task, and when we felt Makai was suited for that situation in that moment when we needed somebody to come up, and he did a good job. You know, he got his feet wet early, and then he settled in.
What's it been like for you week to week, not knowing who's going to be in your secondary?
You know, I think that's the life of a coach. You know, you know the guys that you have, and I think our training staff does a tremendous job of preparing us for what their anticipation is in terms of who can be available and the timeline of that, and then we go. You know, I mean that's part of our process. Monday and Tuesday we kind of figure out who we got, and then we roll with the punches every day as the guys get healthy or they may not be healthy by the end of the week, and then we go. And then our standard is a standard, and everybody kind of understands that in the defense of when we have certain techniques and certain fundamentals that we want to play to that standard regardless of who's in the game, and that's what we're trying to build.
It is a little.
What was the reason that Kobe was rotated in and out, and is that the direction going forward as well?
I think each week we'll kind of, like with all of our positions, we have that plan of the depth and everything of who we want to get in and when. And I think it was a good situation for us to keep everybody fresh, and that's a big thing for us is we want to stay fresh, obviously, through the fourth quarter in every game and through the whole season. And we got some good players at that position that are playing really good football for us. So might as well get everybody some shots on goal.
Does that put some extra stress on the communication on the field, though?
It can, and that's something that we prepare for. We prepare for it throughout the week, and we put guys in those situations and myself in those situations as the primary communicator to them on game day. But, we prepare for all those situations, and so we have a good plan going into it. Coach Elliott does a great job managing that on the sideline on game day, and Greg and his staff help us with that, in terms of getting the green dots sorted out, and then, we go out and roll.
Did that have anything to do with the 12 men?
No, that was me. I just substituted there. Yeah, and I shouldn't have substituted. They went no huddle on me.
This Miami offense is number one in just about everything right now.
Yeah, that's right.
When you start game planning for them, what's sort of the first thing that you want to wrap your head around and try to troubleshoot?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to troubleshoot. Like you said, they're extremely fast, extremely explosive. I think Coach McDaniel does a great job, and Coach Smith over there on offense, they do a great job. And they've got playmakers at all levels of the defense, and so, all levels of the offense that attack all levels of our defense. And so it'll be a fun week to try to prepare for them and get our guys in a position to go make some plays for us.
What are you seeing out of Tua specifically?
Man, he's playing really efficiently. He's getting the ball out really quickly. He's really decisive with his decisions. He's not taking many hits. And he's getting the ball to his playmakers, and whether it's the run or the pass game. I mean, all those guys on offense there can make plays and really open up the game with explosives at any time in the game.
Yeah, and getting back to the secondary, it's a unique situation because not only are you rolling a lot of different guys in there, a lot of them had never played before. I think you have 5 D-backs who had never played a defensive snap, plus Joe had only played 12 coming into this year. So how does that change the preparation, and how do you make sure they're not, how do you make sure they're up for the moment and the challenge, not just physically but mentally?
Yeah, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Coach McDonald, Coach Williams, and Coach Johnson in the back end, coaching the secondary of getting those guys prepared, meeting with them extra. And then in terms of preparation, like I said, we try to rely on a lot of our system stuff that we've put in a lot of time in through training camp in the offseason, the fundamentals and the techniques that we teach. And then we try to cater it to who we have available, and who we think can best suit those roles. And if they can't, then we adjust the scheme, and we try to manage some things, but not the sacrifice of all 11. We still got to put a good product out there on defense, and we will continue to try to do that and putting our guys in the best position to make plays.
Going back to the concept of you rotating guys, before Eli Ricks got hurt, you were rotating him and Josh Jobe on different series early on in the game. I guess what went into the thought process behind that? Yeah,
similar. Like all of these rotations and with the depth and the level of depth that we have. I mean, I think Howie and those guys have done a great job of building that depth for us where we feel good about putting different guys in different situations. So very similar to the linebacker one or the D-line room or, wherever we're rotating in the secondary with Eli and Josh, that we felt both those guys were ready to play and we liked the matchups and they both have different strengths. And so they present different problems to an offense. And we try to use that to our advantage anytime we can. And we'll continue to try to do some of that kind of stuff.
So should we expect the 3 linebackers to continue rotating, or is that just until N'Kobe kind of gets his sea legs back?
Yeah, I think it's really by week and by game, and really what the package and the plan is that we want to do. But we feel confident in any of those guys going out there and executing for us.
How much has Mike McDaniel's offense evolved from the Shanahan template in San Francisco?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think every year everybody evolves a little bit, and he's done a great job evolving, and he's doing some new things with some motions and things like that that put different conflicts on defenses. And so he's for sure evolving from it, and there's some core tenets in there in terms of the run game and what they want to do and how they want to attack us. And even in some of their drop back pass game, there's some core tenets, and he's done a really good job of evolving to his players. You know, he's got a fast team, and he's got a lot of playmakers there that can stretch the field vertically and horizontally and make plays after they get the ball in their hands or downfield. And so he's added some tools there as well. So I think he's done a good job evolving, and you know, some of the core principles are still there.
Sean, this seems like a simplistic question, but what's the coaching point for compensating for a speed mismatch?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we're going to have a long discussion about that today as a staff. And I wouldn't say it's a mismatch, but you know, one thing that we always want to pride ourselves on defense is playing physical. You know, and in my experience, even going back to my days at Temple and we were coaching special teams, you know, speed can hurt you, but physicality can hurt speed. You know, and so we want to be able to try to counteract that. We want to be able to swarm the ball carriers and run and make sure we're around the ball as much as we can be and bring in a lot of bodies around the ball. You know, to try to get back to creating some turnovers and getting the ball out as well.
As far as we mentioned the young DBs getting their opportunity, we haven't seen Keely Ringo get his opportunity. How is his progress and development coming?
He's been doing a good job, you know, and he's been really taking on some different roles and teaching that we've been giving him over these last couple of weeks, and he's done a good job. And I think it's just a continual progress of how he develops, and we got to keep developing him that way. And he's on progress of where we want him to be in terms of that development.
Sean, when it comes to in-season or potential in-season additions, how does that process work with you, the pro scouts, and the front office?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I think our whole scouting department, obviously led by Howie and then all the guys that he's got there, do a tremendous job of staying ahead of the curve, so to speak, in terms of what's out there. And then they bring up names to us, and then we kind of work together through that process of they gather our opinions, and they bring in workout guys that we try to work out, and then we go from there. But they're always ahead of it, and that helps us tremendously because, you know, our focus is right now on game playing, getting our players ready. And so that's been a tremendous help for them to be able to stay ahead.
You have a lot of depth on the edges. Is that why Nolan Smith hasn't gotten many opportunities? And, I mean, how do you balance, you know, that for a young guy as a first rounder and getting him at least some exposure to it without kind of hindering him?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, Jeff. You're right, we do have a lot of depth up front, and so we got to keep rolling guys, and when guys are playing good, they got to keep playing good, and Nolan's done a good job of giving some of the opportunities that he's been in, and we got to continue to find ways to increase his role, but, you know, the way of rotations and game flow go is based on the flow of the game, you know, and he's always a part of that plan, he's part of that conversation, and then we let the game play out how it needs to play out, and he understands that, and it's not necessarily a matter of rookie and development, it's just more a matter of how you want to develop your whole team and your players, and that applies to everybody.
Sean, 3 straight games without a takeaway, how much does that bother you? How tough does that make it to play defense at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get the ball. You know, our job is to get the ball back to the offense as fast as possible, and the fastest way is through a takeaway, you know, and then the next fastest way is a 3-and-out punt. But we want to get back to it, and we all know they come in bunches, and a big function of that, and we've been doing a good job, and we're going to continue to go attack the ball. We've had some missed opportunities with the ball on the ground a few times, and we got to go get it. And so we're going to keep swarming, and we're going to keep attacking it. We're going to keep wrapping at the level of the ball and preaching all the fundamentals that we do because we've seen what they do come, and the ball has been out. And you know, sometimes they're opportunistic, and we haven't had them in the last couple of weeks, but we'll get back to it.
A few months ago, you mentioned the 3 defensive backs coach. Obviously, you have a dedicated nickel coach. Who deals with the safeties there specifically?
I think so Coach McDonald obviously runs a room, and he's got Coach Johnson and Ronell, Coach Williams working with them, and then they do a great job in partnership of collaborating, and then, I mean, they meet every day, They communicate in terms of what we're meeting on, what we're telling these guys, what we're coordinating on individual drills. And then you'll see guys moving around and working at different spots throughout Indy and everything. And so I think they've done a great job of all working together and really tag teaming and allocating their own resources, because one person can't do it all, especially with the guys that we're trying to prepare at the high level that we're preparing them. So they do a great job of allocating their time to really coordinate it. And they're all in cahoots, they're connected so well and they communicate so well with each other. That helps.
Couple more?
Milton Williams has seen an elevated role the past 2 weeks with Fletcher out against Los Angeles and Jalen out against the Jets. What have you seen from him and just how he's stepped up in that role?
Yeah, I think Milton's done an outstanding job, and I've said his name a few times here since I've been here. He's so consistent, he's so physical, he prepares like a pro, and he's always ready for the opportunities that he's been given, and that's what you want in all of our players, and he just comes to work, he does his business, and he's physical. I think the guys respect him, his peers respect him, and we certainly appreciate him, and he's a big part of our defense.